Okay, my pupils, let's get this presentation going as it's pretty long, quite a few slides. Excuse me. So I'm going to narrate fairly quickly, and you might need to take your notes and pause as you are at home and take your notes that way. Be sure to print off the maps in color because that will certainly help you uh, to have those in the binder. This is the Spanish as we continue on the heels of the Portuguese. Um, you get a full screen here, and as always, brought to you and narrated by Mr. Here we see a map of Spain and Portugal. Portugal leading the age of exploration in 1488 with Diaz, and Spain coming along now in 1492 with Christopher Columbus. You can see how close these countries are and why they were so competitive for sailing advantages. Our presentation goals: we're going to locate Spain on the map, which we've done just briefly in the slide before. We're going to understand the reasons that drove the Spanish to explore, which is the mnemonic device, our G's: God, Gold, Glory. Learn about a few notable explorers who sailed for Spain. They might not have been from Spain, but did sail under the Spanish flag. And as always, we're going to talk about the consequences or the impact of these voyages. We're going to start with Ferdinand and Isabella, the king and queen of Spain at the time. They wanted to get into the economic activity and the political activity that they saw the Portuguese engaged in, so they began uh, financing voyages and expeditions. Um, and then here comes Christopher Columbus, who was looking for a westward route to Asia. Remember, the Portuguese were sailing east around Africa over to Asia, and Columbus thought that a westward route existed, and he convinced Ferdinand and Isabella to finance his voyage. So they supported him. In 1492, he set sail with the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, three ships. Went into the Caribbean, the lower Atlantic, uh, and the Caribbean Sea, and reached the Bahamas. And thinking he had reached the Far East, he named it the Indies for the Indians, um, and he did claim the land for Spain. He did then reach the Americas and explored other islands, island chains in the Caribbean, uh, Cuba, Jamaica, what is today the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. A map, quickly, I would highly suggest that you print this, but here is Columbus coming down in the purple right here. Oh, I'm sorry, in the red right here in 1492 over into the Caribbean. Oops, and to Jamaica. There we go. Way to go, Anderson. All right, so let's move on. Okay, major explorers: Ferdinand Magellan. He was Portuguese born, ironically, but he's helping the Spanish. And he believed that Columbus had discovered a huge land mass between Europe and Asia, and he was going to find a way through that land mass to join the Atlantic and the Pacific. So he set sail with 5 ships. Down at the tip of South America, he finds the strait or the narrow passageway that allows him to join the Atlantic and the Pacific. It's called the Strait of Magellan today. In 1520, he sailed into and named the Pacific Ocean. Tragically for Magellan, on his way east to Asia, he died on the sea, and yet some of his crew, original crew from this voyage, made it back to Europe, and so they were the first sailors to successfully circumnavigate the globe. Circum means around, and navigate, nav means sail, so they were the first to sail around the globe under Ferdinand Magellan's risk-taking and financing. Oops. Just a quick map again, where we see Columbus, where he went. We see Magellan down to the Strait of Magellan, joining the Atlantic and the Pacific. That's just da Gama from Portugal, and how he went around the tip of Africa going east to Asia, while these guys were going west to find Asia. Spanish conquistadors changed history forever. They were adventurous explorers who received grants from Spanish rulers, which gave them the right to explore and establish settlements or colonies in the Americas. In return, they would give the Spanish crown 1/5 of any gold or treasure discovered, which is what turned out to be a massive amount. They were entrepreneurs in that they took their own risks and financed their expeditions, but they did get to keep quite a bit, well, 4/5 of the wealth and jewelry and the gold and silver and so forth that they brought back. And remember, reasons for sailing at this time: mnemonic device, the three G's: God, glory, gold. Mainly Catholicism at this point. All right, conquistador, the main one, Hernan Cortez, landed on the east coast of present-day Mexico near Veracruz. Took some soldiers, a few horses, and a few cannons, and from that point, basically changed human history forever by wiping out Aztec civilization, which was thousands of years old, millennia old. And Cortez and his crew were greeted as guests by the chief of the Aztecs, Montezuma, who lived in Tenochtitlan, which is present-day Mexico City, and there was just a brilliant, sprawling, beautiful city of gold. Literally, they used the gold that they mined to build their structures, to help adorn their structures. And soon, these folks were wiped out, for the most part, by the conquistadors. Okay, and this is just a quick visual so you can see where Cortez landed on the Yucatan Peninsula, and then here to Veracruz where he colonized, and then into Mexico City where he wiped out this empire and continued up here conquering and claiming for Spain. Okay, Pizarro wanted to sail to present-day Peru because of the rumors he had heard of gold up there, and that's where he went under the patronage of the Spanish crown. He met the emperor of the Incas, Atahualpa, who again met Pizarro as Montezuma met Cortez as a guest and treated him as a guest. Pizarro and his conquistadors used that to their advantage. They eventually kidnapped Atahualpa, demanded ransom of massive amounts of gold and silver, which was paid by the Incas. And upon that payment, Pizarro and his conquistadors killed Atahualpa anyways, and then took control of that empire, wiped it out in many ways, through battle and through disease. Okay, and this is just a quick visual to show you where Pizarro was. This is the Pacific Ocean on the west side of South America up to Central America, linking Mexico, and then Cortez was up here at the Yucatan Peninsula. Impact. The consequences. European worldviews were changed because now two hemispheres that didn't know about one another before were meeting and exchanging cultures and ideas, and that changed human history and put it on a new path forever. Columbus did reveal the existence of Americas. Magellan found the strait to link the Atlantic and the Pacific and sailed into Asia. He circumnavigated the globe, or his crew did. They found what in parentheses is the New World, in parentheses because it was an old world. It was just the world for the folks who were already living there. And Columbus began Spanish settlements or colonies here at this time, and the Columbian Exchange took place, which we'll get to. The conquistadors expanded the Spanish Empire, expanded Spanish wealth and fame and prestige and territory, There was an exchange called the Columbian Exchange, which we'll get to in the next slide. But the bottom line is two advanced civilizations, the Aztecs and the Incas, were destroyed for a number of reasons. All right, the Columbian Exchange, I would suggest that you can print this page and take your notes from this page or from this visual. As you can see, Europe sailing to the Americas, these two hemispheres, the eastern and the western, are meeting for the first time, and you can see the diseases brought by the Europes, to which the Native Americans, Amerindians, had no immunity, so they died off in the hundreds of thousands. You can see the goods that came, the vegetables and resources that came to Europe, and what Europeans brought, mostly livestock and coffee, to the Americas. This ends this presentation. We will move on to other European explorers who did more exploration up in this part of North America. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.